Hi, welcome to this podcast on bank reconciliation. This is a little bit more complex than some examples that you might see, and I want to kind of take you through this process. So we want to start with the information that we have from the June bank reconciliation. And what we have from that, of course, was the book balance. We added in deposits in transit, we subtracted outstanding checks, and we ended up with our balances per book. Now, what we want to do is prepare a July 31st bank reconciliation, and here is the information we have from the month of July. Now, this problem, I want to focus first of all on calculating deposits in transit and outstanding checks, because it's not as intuitive as some students might think. So normally, our deposits in transit or outstanding checks would be the difference between the book amount and the bank amount. And so if I were to look at deposits in transit, I would say the book deposits were 14,000 and the bank deposits were 12,000, and therefore we must have $2,000 as deposits in transit. But what we need to consider is that all of this 12,000 recorded by the bank didn't happen in July. As you notice here, 5,000 was still outstanding at the end of June, so it's likely that is included in the 12,000, and we need to make that adjustment. So the real outstanding checks for the month of July is $7,000. All right, let's take a look at the outstanding checks. Again, we take our book amount of $10,000. We subtract our bank amount of $11,000. Now that immediately should be a red flag to someone. How is it possible that more checks cleared the bank than we actually wrote during the month of July? Well, the only way that can happen is if in fact some of the checks that cleared in the month of July came from checks that were written in June. So we need to subtract those June outstanding checks to come up with the actual outstanding checks for the month of July. Okay, now that we've calculated those amounts correctly, let's go ahead and complete the bank reconciliation. So the balance per the bank on July 31st is 26,000. I'm going to add my deposits in transit of 7,000, and I'm going to subtract my outstanding checks of 3,500, and this gives me a corrected cash balance of 29,500. So let's see if we can then get that to match with our book balance. Our book balance was our unadjusted, let's think of it that way, our unadjusted cash ledger balance was 25,500. Now let's look at the information that we have here. The bank collected a note on our behalf, so we're going to add 5,000 for a collection of a note. The bank charged us a $100 service charge, so we're going to subtract $100. The bank charged us, there was a NSF check returned by the bank of $900, and that reduces our cash balance. And so when I add those up, I get an adjusted cash balance of 29,500. Okay, I hope this example helps you do a bank reconciliation and how we need to consider the previous deposits in transit and outstanding checks when we are doing a bank reconciliation.